Nintendo won't allow me to play this brand new physical copy of Breath of the Wild on my new Nintendo Switch 2. And in order to understand why, we need to look at the difference in how Switch Online bans work on the original Switch versus the new Switch 2. This is a modded Nintendo Switch OLED. You can see me booting it into the official stock firmware now. And although I don't have a banned system to test with, the system does work fine online. I'm gonna imitate a Switch Online ban by just putting the system into airplane mode. That way I can't download any software updates or access any online features. You can see by going into the system settings, I am in airplane mode. And one thing I want to emphasize is that I am on the latest firmware version. We can see the firmware version here is 20.1.5. It's the same firmware version on both the Switch 1 and the Switch 2. And what happens when I try to play my copy of Breath of the Wild on this banned system? We plug in the cartridge, take a little detour here, and we can see that the game version is 1.6.0. That is the version the game ships with. I have not installed any game updates on this system. And let's try to launch it. We can see that we get three options here. We can cancel, download, or we can start software. Of course, ideally we would want to play on the latest firmware version, so we're going to click download, and when we try to download it, of course we're quote-unquote banned. We would get a similar error message if we were, but we can't download the software update. Very tragic, but you know, what can you do? Let's just hit start software. We don't need the update to be able to play the game from start to finish. Launch the game. The game plays just fine. You can enjoy Breath of the Wild without any issues. Probably a couple weird duplication bugs that were patched by later updates that probably make the game more fun anyways. As we can see, although I don't feel like waiting for the opening cutscene, the game plays just fine and you get the idea. Now, how is this experience different on the Nintendo Switch 2? If we take that same cartridge, bring over the Switch 2, so this is a banned Nintendo Switch 2. You can see here that if I try to do anything online related, Nintendo eShop for example, error, the use of this online service is not permitted. Okay, same applies to playing multiplayer games, virtual game cards. You really can't do much with a banned Nintendo Switch 2. The reason for the ban is this MIG Flash card. So the MIG Flash, for anyone unaware, allows you to create game backups of your actual Nintendo Switch games. Of course, it enables piracy as well. But in my case, you can see I have a copy of Super Mario Maker 2. I've cloned it to the MIG Flash, and I tried playing it, got an error message, and that flagged my system for this ban. The ban came about a week later, just shortly after the Switch released. But that's the reason for the ban. Let's try to play my new copy of Breath of the Wild on this system. The same copy that I was able to play just fine on a banned quote-unquote Nintendo Switch 1. We plug it in, and I'll go through the same few checks. So we go to the settings. We can see that I am on the same exact firmware version, 20.1.5. Going back to the home screen, you'll be able to see that, well, first, no more system updates. Going back to the home screen, we can see same game version, just the version on the cartridge. Okay, so how is this experience different on the Switch 2? Well, we're missing a critical button here. So we have the option to cancel, we have the option to download, but we can't play the software without this required download. Let's try to download it. Preparing. Do you want to download the software? Yes. Do you want to download the software? Yes. We can't download this software, making this game completely unplayable. There is nothing I've been able to do that would allow me to get this software update. So what now? Some of you might be mad to find this. Some of you might be saying I deserved it. And maybe I did. You know, even though I didn't actually pirate any games, this was my own copy of a game that I was trying to play. Nintendo has made it very clear that they don't like these devices. They consider them piracy devices, and they're willing to fuck you over if you try using it. So, you know, maybe there is an argument to be made that I deserve this ban. I kind of expected it. You know, I'm not stupid. I know that Nintendo likes to ban MiG Switch users, but on the Switch 1, those bans seemed to be more focused on people who use known pirated copies of games, meaning games that people have dumped and shared online for the masses to play, as opposed to those who keep backups of their own titles on the MiG Switch, MiG Flash. So I was only a little bit surprised to see that I got banned, since this was my own clean copy of the game, but not too surprised, and I was fine sacrificing this system for science. But a small portion of keen-eyed individuals might be saying, well, this isn't that big of a deal because you can actually share game updates between Switch systems. So if you have a friend who's on the latest update, or you have another system that has a different game version, you can connect these two systems locally. They can communicate with each other and pass along this game update. I don't think that's a real solution, because I mean, if you have access to another system, why not just play the game from that system? I don't think it's realistic to expect someone to go to a friend's house or to borrow a Switch just to update a game on a Switch that has been banned from playing it. But let's try that avenue nonetheless. So I'm gonna go ahead and plug this game into my Switch 1 now. I'm gonna unban myself by turning off airplane mode, and I'll be able to download the software update for the game. We'll see if we can transfer it over to Switch 2. That will allow us to actually play the game, which so far we haven't been able to. Let's see what happens. So the game update finally finished. After a long wait, we can select a profile, we can launch the game. You'll see in a second that it launches just fine. Okay, and more importantly, we can go and we can check the game version. We're on version 1.8.1. That is the latest version for this game. And it's right here on my system. I have the game update. And this is the feature I was mentioning. So match version with local users. This allows you to transfer the game update from one system to another. Let's plug the cartridge into our Switch 2 and let's see if we can transfer over the game data. Again, we're on 1.6.0. We're going to go to that same screen. I've never done this before, so I'm just reading over the instructions here. Okay, so we're gonna get to the same screen. We're gonna try creating a group. So I'll create the group on the original Switch. I'll join the group on the Switch 2. I pop up there on the right, and we can start communication to hopefully send over the data. But we're not so lucky. Unable to acquire software update data. Please perform the software update via the internet, and with instructions to do so. Obviously, we just tried that a second ago. We can't do it. Again, I've never done this before, so I'll just try it again. This time I will try hosting the room from the Nintendo Switch 2.
Страшно хочется, чтобы она тебя обожала, баловала и берегла. И напомни мне, чтобы я больше не приезжала.
Same process of creating a group and joining a group, this time with the systems reversed. Start session. Very quick error this time. Same one, unable to update, unable to acquire software update data. So now when I tested this, I fully expected it to work because there's a difference between making the system difficult to use and making it a completely worthless brick. Right? I thought I would be able to transfer the game data over from one system to another using this inconvenient and inefficient method, and then I'd be able to play it just fine afterwards on my band Switch 2. That is not what happened. I can't even transfer this update data over, meaning this system is completely incapable of playing this game that I just bought for $70 in the big 2025. And keep in mind, I've never done this before. Again, it's possible that I just did the transfer incorrectly, or maybe I had some kind of local network issue with my network, and that's the reason this didn't work. I would really like others to, with a band Switch 2, to test this before I completely commit to the idea of this being bricked. But if it's true that there is no possible way to play this game on my Switch 2, I really do think that is just disgusting. It's anti-consumer, and it's probably downright illegal in many countries. Again, if this is true, I think we really need to reevaluate what it means to own the products that we buy. Do I own this Switch? Do I own this copy of Breath of the Wild? How can I really own these two products if Nintendo can just, at the snap of a finger, whenever they feel like it, take away my ability to use this console and this cartridge? This console has all of the processing power. It's got a CPU, RAM, storage, screen that all work perfectly fine. The cartridge has all of the code, all of the game assets needed to run this great game, Breath of the Wild, that I've played on my original Switch. Everything's here in my fingertips, and yet artificial barriers put up by Nintendo prevent me from playing it. And I really think that is sad. Please share any thoughts you might have in the comments below, and for more hardware modding tomfoolery, subscribe to Ratchet Mods.